Hey guys, okay, so I'm going to do a tutorial today to do a tie-dye tumbler. This is the one I did. I posted it in some Tumblr groups that I'm in, and there was some interest on it because this one is done all with glitter. I've seen a lot of them done with acrylic paint or alcohol ink that look really cool over top of glitter, but this one is done with opaque glitters on top of a white tumbler. So this is just a different way to do things. So to get started, I have a 30-ounce tumbler. This one was actually given to my mom, so I'm kind of repurposing just for the tutorial purposes. But there's different suppliers that have different tumblers. So if you have a supplier or look it up, you can use Walmart or any big box store. They carry them also. Another really important thing, prepping your tumblers. I know a lot of you already make them if you're watching this, but some may just be getting started. So be sure to sand it really well to take off any of the finish on the outside of it. Some people even actually strip them with acetone before they do this, especially if they're powder coated. But you want to scrub it really good with sandpaper, take off the shine, and I spray mine with white paint. Sometimes I use a color that coordinates to whatever glitter is underneath, but for this I wanted white because a lot of the tie-dye t-shirts you see have that little bit of variation in white in them, so that's why I went with this. And I used the Rust-Oleum 2x clear white, flat white with primer, so that's what we use there. So this is ready. I'm going to go over real quick the supplies used, and then I will adjust the camera and show you what we're doing. So to apply the glitter this way, you really need to have control of it to get it very precisely as to where it's going. I really like the epoxy method, but for this, sadly, it's not going to work as well. So Mod Podge to the rescue for that one. This is actually the matte Mod Podge. There's all different kinds. Some people really like, there's the dishwasher safe, there's the high gloss, there's whatever you want. This is what I had on hand, so that's what we're using. And that's actually what that other tumbler was done with. You need some small paint brushes. These are from Artist Loft. They're really little. And this is, I guess I'm going to call it the weapon of choice for me. Bamboo skewers, like you'd use on a grill. If you need to get really fine lines, this is actually really helpful. And when I first started doing tumblers, I didn't have a Cameo or a Cricut or anything to cut out vinyl. So I would dip one of these in Mod Podge and draw by hand my designs and glitter them. I didn't know about Silly Winks or any of that stuff that you could use to glitter intricately at the time. So this is for me going old school, using one of those. And then I also have a big brush to help get the excess off the cup as we change colors. So I use all those things. And then for glitter, there's 10,000 different places you can go. There's boutique glitters, there's craft glitters, whatever you want to do. I've ordered from different sources. The source that I'm using for this cup is actually an automotive flake that they would put in the paint of cars. That's kind of how I got started with some of this. I like anything that shines, and I was always into cars. And this is also a polyester glitter. It's also solvent resistant, so it's just like a lot of the boutique glitters. It's not a craft glitter. So it's what I use. Some of the craft store glitters, they can fade relatively quickly. So if you want a product that's going to last, you do need to ensure that it is the polyester glitter, just for longevity. The brand I have is Tropical Glitz. Okay, I get it online. The person that sells it, like I said, being into cars, that's kind of how we started. We had some mutual friends and just kind of went from there. A good thing though about him that I like, the proceeds go to help his son, who was born paralyzed, and so the proceeds go to help his son with therapy treatments to walk. So, kind of a win-win, and it's made here in the US, so that was a good thing. So the colors that I'm using today are Sunburn Red. You see that? Okay. Then our orange is called Cheeto Fingers, also Tropical Glitz, and it's a holographic orange. It's kind of hard to pick up on camera. I'll go through a tropical glitz and I'll show you. There's one other brand. Cuban Mojito, which is a darker green, which I'm actually going to mix this with another brand and a lighter neon. For my blue, I have South Beach Blue, bright blue. And for purple, I have Raspberry Mousse. Let's see if I can, doesn't want to focus, but it's a purple color. Okay. And what I've done is I've just put them in little cups. So, you know, for my yellow, I'm using a Hobby Lobby neon yellow just because I really like how bright it is. And I had it on hand, so I did that. And then my green, I said I used the darker green Cuban Mojito, but I mixed it with the Hobby Lobby neon green. You can see those. But once I mix them, it's more of a Kelly green, but it kind of gives a variation to it that I really liked. So, did that. I also have a cup of water handy to rinse out the Mod Podge from my brush and the different color of glitter. I have pieces of paper to help shake it back in the cups after I work my way around on the cup. Little cups. I'm going to put some Mod Podge in this, so if you see me in a minute when I adjust the camera, dipping into, probably doesn't look like nothing because it's a white cup and white Mod Podge, but that's what that is. So that is that. Oh, I also keep wet ones on hand because it can get kind of nasty sometimes, especially if you're going to epoxy your cup. I'm not going to go that far. I'm just going to show you how I completely glitter the tumbler. After you glitter it, you definitely want to seal it before you do anything else to it so your glitters don't run. To seal it, I highly recommend the Rust-Oleum 2-Time Clear. It holds everything in place. Sometimes when you spray it, it'll dull the sparkle a little bit on your cup, but it does come back after you epoxy. If you're going to use something else, you can use 2K Clear, which is an automotive sealant and a spray. It is actually, it lasts really well. Some even say better than epoxy. So that is kind of up to you and your personal preference on things. But that's what I use to get started. So I guess we'll go from there. Okay. So the best way I can describe this on this cup, you're going to start from the center and we're going to work our circle around. And if you'll notice, I just kind of continue and I'll do an imaginary circle. Like, where would it go next after it touches the cup? I know that kind of sounds weird. I like a bigger spiral. I don't really like little tiny 15,000 circles around the cup. Just personal preference. Some people like more color variations and so forth. I just happen to like this look. So the method to the madness for me, I would say about on a 30-inch, when you start with your red, you're going to go 4 inches apart. So you want to make sure that you have 4 inches of space between the rings of red. You'll see it more in a minute when I start putting it on there. And I would say go down 1 inch for every 10 inches smaller in tumbler. So 3 inches of space between them for a 20 ounce, 2 to 2.5 inches between them. On the little kids, like 14-ounce tumblers. That kind of gets your spacing about right. Okay, so I think that's it. I'm going to pause it and adjust the camera and we'll get started glittering, okay?